Have you ever wondered why good people often finish last? Why does virtue seem to be its own punishment in a world that appears to reward the cunning over the kind? These questions have haunted philosophers and moralists for centuries, and today, we're going to explore an uncomfortable truth that might change the way you view morality, power, and success forever. Picture yourself standing at a crossroads. On one path lies the comfortable illusion of pure goodness, the path you've been taught to follow since childhood. On the other lies a more complex reality, one where virtue and power intertwine in ways that might challenge everything you believe about being good. This is the path less traveled, the path of Machiavelli's wisdom, and it holds secrets that could transform your understanding of how to navigate our complex world. We begin with a fundamental truth that society often tries to hide. Kindness alone is not enough. This isn't merely an observation. It's a philosophical principle that challenges the very foundation of conventional moral wisdom. Think about the last time your goodness was exploited, the last time your honesty was used against you. These weren't just personal failures. They were manifestations of a deeper truth about human nature. Machiavelli understood something profound about human nature that most moral philosophers of his time, and even ours, prefer to ignore. Human beings are fundamentally self-interested creatures. This isn't necessarily a condemnation. It's a recognition of reality. The question isn't whether this truth is pleasant, but whether ignoring it serves us well. What if I told you that there exists a higher form of goodness, one that doesn't require you to be a victim? This is what we might call strategic virtue, or intelligent kindness. It's not about abandoning your moral principles. It's about protecting them with wisdom. Consider this. Is a kind person who allows themselves to be destroyed by the unkind really serving the cause of goodness in the world? Machiavelli's insights weren't about embracing evil. They were about understanding power as a tool for protecting virtue. When he wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, he wasn't advocating for tyranny. He was acknowledging a fundamental truth about human psychology. Respect often requires strength. Here we encounter our first practical principle, the management of perception. In the realm of human affairs, what people believe often matters more than what is true. This isn't cynicism, it's pragmatism. Think about how often competent people are overlooked while confident incompetents rise to positions of influence. The difference lies not in their abilities, but in their understanding of how perception shapes reality. Consider this philosophical question. If a wise person speaks profound truths but cannot command attention, while a fool speaks nonsense but captures everyone's interest, who has more influence on the world? The answer reveals an uncomfortable truth about the relationship between wisdom and power. One of the most counterintuitive lessons in the art of power is the strategic use of silence. In a world where everyone feels compelled to speak, to share, to express every thought and feeling, silence becomes a rare and powerful commodity. This isn't just about being quiet, it's about understanding the power of mystery and the value of controlled information. Think about the most influential people you know. Are they the ones who tell you everything, who wear their hearts on their sleeves? Or are they the ones who make you wonder, who keep you guessing, who reveal just enough to maintain interest, while holding back enough to maintain power? Here we arrive at a crucial paradox. True strength often lies in knowing when to appear weak, and true wisdom in knowing when to appear foolish. This isn't about deception, it's about strategic positioning. Just as a martial artist learns to use an opponent's strength against them, a wise person learns to use expectations and assumptions to their advantage. Consider the game of chess. The most powerful moves often come not from aggressive pushing forward, but from patient positioning, from creating situations where your opponent's assumptions work against them. This is the essence of strategic virtue, not pure force, but intelligent application of pressure and restraint. Perhaps the most vital lesson in our exploration of power and virtue is the mastery of emotions. In a world where reactions are instant and emotions run high, the person who maintains their composure holds immense power. This isn't about suppressing feelings, it's about choosing when and how to express them. Think about the last time you lost your temper in an argument. Who held the power in that moment? The person who maintained their composure or the person who lost control? This simple truth reveals something profound about the relationship between emotional control and personal power. Now we arrive at a revolutionary concept: kindness as a strategic tool rather than a passive state. Imagine kindness not as a default response to everything, but as a powerful force to be deployed with precision and purpose. This doesn't make it less genuine, it makes it more effective. When you choose to be kind from a position of strength rather than weakness, when your goodness is a choice rather than a compulsion, you transform from a mere moral actor into a force for positive change in the world. This is the difference between being good and being effectively good. One of the most powerful tools in the arsenal of strategic virtue is unpredictability. When people can't predict your reactions, when they can't manipulate your patterns, you become both more interesting and more powerful. This isn't about being erratic. It's about maintaining the freedom to choose your responses rather than being bound by expectations. In our connected world, constant availability has become the norm. But power often lies in strategic distance, in knowing when to be present and when to be scarce. This isn't about being aloof. It's about understanding that value is often connected to scarcity, and that includes the scarcity of your presence and attention. So how do we synthesize these insights into a practical philosophy of life? The answer lies in understanding that true virtue isn't about being purely good or purely powerful. It's about finding the balance that allows you to be effectively good in a world that doesn't always reward goodness. Consider these practical steps. Before speaking, ask yourself if silence might be more powerful. Before reacting emotionally, consider the strategic value of composure. Before giving freely, consider if your generosity will be more valued if it's more measured. Before taking action, consider if patience might yield better results. As we conclude our exploration of these principles, you might feel uncomfortable with some of these ideas. This discomfort is natural. It's the friction between idealistic morality and practical wisdom. But remember, the goal isn't to abandon your principles, it's to protect and promote them more effectively. The world needs good people who know how to wield power wisely. It needs kind people who know how to protect themselves from exploitation. It needs moral people who understand how to make their virtue effective rather than just symbolic. The choice before you isn't between being good and being powerful. It's between being ineffectively good and strategically virtuous. As you move forward, consider this: every time you allow your goodness to be exploited, you're not just hurting yourself, you're reducing the power of virtue in the world. The true path of wisdom lies not in choosing between power and virtue, but in learning to make virtue powerful and power virtuous. This is the ultimate lesson of Machiavelli. Translated for our modern world: good people must learn to be powerful, or powerful people will never learn to be good. Remember, the world doesn't change for the purely virtuous. It changes for those who know how to make virtue a force to be reckoned with. The question isn't whether you'll maintain your principles, it's whether you'll learn to make them matter in a world that responds to power as much as it does to truth.